I was gonna name my guy John DragonAgeOrigins, but apparently they don't let you have names that long. So let's just say hello to John Dragon, or John DragonAge to his friends. John DragonAge is here to help answer one simple question. Can you beat Dragon Age Origins without ever spending money? That means no shops, no dialogue options that would have you pay money, no donating to beggars, none of that stuff. Let's find out. John DragonAge is a casteless dwarf, meaning he's been discriminated against and looked down upon his whole life. Man's still gotta make a living though, so he works for the Carta, which is basically the dwarf mafia. This guy, Balin, he's the mafia boss, and he's got some work for us. Us meaning myself and my partner Lesky here. That means roughing up a guy who thinks he can undercut the Carta's profits, and after reporting back on that, we've got a bigger job to worry about. Like, that we'll be killed if we mess this up kinda big. The boss wants us to go help rig the Proving, which is this big arena fight that happens every so often between people from the important castes, unlike ourselves. Essentially, he's got a whole lot of money on the underdog, and wants to make sure that his opponent isn't in tip-top shape. That's where we come in. We're gonna go spike the water of the other guy to make sure the underdog wins. However, small problem with that. Underdog here is blackout drunk. Fortunately, I am a certified genius and thus have a clear solution. I'll just put his armor on and win the fights that way. Surely nothing could go wrong like that, right?
Wait, I know that man. That's Zeveran. Then what imposter did I fight?
So, prison. Guess they don't like it when people mess with the Proving. Oh, what's that? We're not in an actual prison? We're in the cells the mafia boss keeps in his compound? Oh, yeah, that might be an issue. New solution. Good thing I'm a genius. It's quite simple, really. We just escape from the prison and make sure nobody sees us. And we do that by leaving no one alive to snitch. This will serve the dual function of getting us out of here, meaning freedom and not imminent death. And also, we can get revenge on the boss for being a dick who forced my sister into prostitution. Oh, even when killing the local mafia boss, the cops are mad at me. Well, looks like this is the end of the road for old John DragonAgeOrigins. What's that? Me? A Grey Warden? Sign me up, Duncan. Let's get me out of this place. As a new Grey Warden, or technically a Grey Warden recruit, there are many important things I need to do. Like, collect Darkspawn blood, and also papers. The Darkspawn blood is easy enough, a lot of Darkspawn around, kind of the whole reason they're looking for Grey Wardens. But the papers, not so. It seems like Crazy Lady here took them, which is unforgivable, regardless of how attractive her daughter is. And now for a small segment I like to call my favorite Alistair moments of this chapter.
Yes, swooping is bad. You stole them, didn't you? You're some kind of sneaky witch thief. First it's, I like you, but then zap, frog time.
Alright, seems like this Darkspawn blood collecting thing was not just busy work. Turns out they want me to drink it.
And mastered their taint.
I'm sorry?
Become immune to the taint.
I'm sorry?
You are called upon to submit yourself to the taint for the greater good.
Okay, now they're just doing this on purpose. Well, now that I'm the only recruit alive, I guess it's time to fulfill the sacred duty of the Grey Wardens. Light a bonfire. What's that? There are Darkspawn around the bonfire when they were not supposed to be? Oh, actually, maybe it was a good thing that we sent Grey Wardens to do this. Okay, there's a lot of lore going on here, but the short of it is the king and the other guy were gonna fight the Darkspawn. And this guy was supposed to show up when the signal was lit. However, Evil Guy just kind of alley-ooped when he was supposed to show up, and that killed all the Grey Wardens and the king. Crazy Woman then plucked us off the top of the tower, and now we're the sole survivors of the battle. And now she's having her hot daughter escort us and fight the Darkspawn. A win, to be honest, but this isn't exactly a romance run, so we're gonna hold off on that. Regardless, we're off to build an army, and Morrigan here is our first step. And this is our second. Who's a good boy? Who's a good puppy? Lothering is a bit different than I expected. But you know what is exactly as I expected? These two. God, I love watching them argue like teenagers, it's so fucking funny. As Lothering is essentially an expanded tutorial area. designed to get you more used to the world and how town-city areas work. There isn't a whole lot here that's super exciting. The biggest point I'd say is the addition of 2 more party members, Sten and Leliana. Sten is a Qunari who was stuck in this cage for killing a bunch of people, and Leliana is apparently a sister of the Chantry. Essentially, the main group here on out is always going to include some combination of Alistair, Leliana, or Morrigan, because they're the funniest group to watch yap at each other. Yeah, well, that was my plan, but, yeah.
We're almost at Redcliffe. Did I say how I know Arl-Eamon exactly? I'm a bastard. My mother was a serving girl at Redcliffe Castle, and she died when I was born. Arl-Eamon took me in and raised me before I was sent to the Chantry. The reason he did that was because my father was King Marek, which made Kaelin my half-brother, I suppose.
I'm scheming. With Kayla gone. Let's backburner this. Redcliffe ain't doing too hot. Apparently there's a bunch of things that attack them all night that have just kind of shown up out of nowhere. It's going to complicate a fair number of things, particularly the whole getting to the castle and getting help from the suspiciously sick Arl-Eamon. They also zoom oddly close on this guy's face a lot during this conversation. Basically, we just need to help them prepare for tonight's attack, and then they can help us get into the castle proper. So we spend some time helping them prep, then hold off the Walking Dead for the night. After that, we prepare to head into the castle, but the Arlessa appears and tries to take our only ticket into the castle to come back with her, and without us. Sus AF, as the kids say. So, we'll send Ticket inside with the woman, and we'll sneak in the back way. Honestly, best possible plan in my mind. So, castle is completely overrun by walking corpses, which isn't great, to be fair. But they are easily dealt with, so we make good progress nonetheless. It does seem, however, that the Arl's kid is the cause behind all the Walking Dead wandering around. Seems he's kind of been showing signs of being a mage, so the Arlessa found an outlaw wizard to teach him, and the outlaw wizard ended up poisoning the Arl. However, the kid now knows how to talk to demons, and decided to make a deal that ended up getting him possessed, but also kept his dad alive. Said demon is also not too pleased by diplomacy, apparently.
Diggin, are you alright?
I am...
Fucking Blair Witch moment, Jesus Christ, Tegan. Long and short of it is, there are 3 options. Option number 1, kill the kid outright, which I am operating under the assumption that this will not appeal us to Arl-Eamon. Option 2 is to use evil blood magic to attempt to sever the connection between the kid and the demon. Option 3 is to travel about a day away to get some mages and lyrium, which, let's be real here, sounds like the safest choice. With all the corpses disposed of and a mage to watch the kid, I feel safe enough to just head to the circle to grab some reinforcements. Luckily, I have the Grey Warden treaties I got earlier that require the Circle of Magi to aid me when I call upon them, so that should just be a quick jaunt back and forth, right? I just have to stop dying to these wolves. God, this place takes forever. It's just climbing and really obtuse puzzles, and even more climbing, and even worse, there's this whole secondary dungeon within the entire Circle Tower, which takes a ridiculous amount of time by itself to finish, which does have some admittedly interesting mechanics in the whole shape-shifting thing, and the puzzles you need to solve with the different forms. The whole story here is that a bunch of mages got sick of the whole constant scrutiny of the Chantry, and decided that they just kinda needed to overthrow the circle using forbidden blood magic. Clearly this was the best possible choice, because now a bunch of the mages are, abominations that are possessed by demons. Clearing out the tower itself is light work, even if entering the Fade to confront this sloth demon is a slog and a half, regardless of how interesting the shapeshifting mechanics are. Long enough passes, and we're finally able to confront the leader of the blood mages at the top of the tower. Easy work, GG, no rees. Luckily, we found the first enchanter alive still, so we can convince the Templar commander not to burn the entire place to the ground and kill everyone who survived. Thankfully, this does mean we can get on with the reason we were actually here, and ask the mages for help with the little demon problem back in Redcliffe. Somehow, the mages made it to Redcliffe before us, so they're all set up to do the ritual. I choose to send Morrigan inside because she's got a good head on her shoulders, and a nice set of shoulders those are. I got distracted, where were we? Oh yeah, she makes short work of the demon, and we're able to continue onwards in the story. At this point, I took my first break to work on some character quest lines. The key to this is giving them a bunch of random shit, which should just trigger the quests to begin. First on the list is Morrigan, as I found a grimoire in the Circle Tower that used to belong to her mother. Within it, she finds some, disturbing information about how her mother has lived so long. Essentially, when she gets old enough, she has a daughter, raises them, and then takes over their body for herself when the time is right. Morrigan, strangely enough, is not thrilled by this prospect, and, wants me to kill her mother. Of course, I think having a crazy old lady in Morrigan's body would not be swell, in my estimation, and, so I'm just gonna agree with her. Thusly, I head to Flemeth's hut in the Kokiri Wilds. During this time, we also get some insight on what's going on with Logain, the guy who betrayed the king. He's basically caused a civil war, which is not great, dude. He's also hired an assassin to come kill us. Speaking of which, here he is now. Get clowned on, fool. Luckily, I did leave him alive, and I can ask him some questions. He offers a fair bit of information without any prompting, and answers all of my questions really straightforwardly. He just offers to start working for me then, free of charge. And, as I am in desperate need of allies, and he seems silly enough, I take him up on it.
Oh, you are another companion to be, then? I wasn't aware such loveliness existed amongst adventurers, surely.
But now he's flirting with my companions, which is my thing. I'm rethinking this. Finally, though, I do make it to Flemeth's hut, and then get curb stomped, and set back by a fair bit because I forgot to save, so I need to redo all of that. Alright, take 2. Okay, we're gonna come back to this later, I think. The biggest issue I have found with this challenge is that it is difficult to stay scaled to where the game wants us to be. Even so, I've made my decision on where to head next.
You are very beautiful, Morrigan. But you are always dressed in such rags. It suits you, I suppose. A little tear here, a little rip there to show some skin. I understand.
You understand I lived in a forest, I hope?
Maybe we could get you in a nice dress one day. Silk. No, maybe velvet. Velvet is heavier, better to guard against the cold in Ferelden. Dark red velvet. Yes. With gold embroidery. It should be cut low in the front, of course. We don't want to hide your features.
Stop looking at my breasts like that. 'Tis most disturbing.
You know, I think this is really going to endear us to our dwarven allies. So Logain has got a guy here badgering the dwarves, who won't let him in because, the king died while I was gone, apparently. He's also spreading some bullshit about Logain being king and is mad when I get let in because, Grey Warden treaties. Because both he wasn't, and also I'm a Grey Warden, which is a bad thing now. While he does have some mean things to say, I quickly convince him to never bother me again. Eventually, though, we managed to return to Orzammar proper. Things have changed a fair bit in my absence, particularly that king dying part. Essentially, there's a bit of a civil war going on, would you imagine that? A lot of those in this. Between the last remaining prince and another lord. So we've got to pick one to back, because without a king, no one has the power to enforce the treaties we've come here to request aid under. Typically, I've backed Lord Harrowmont in the past, as the prince seems to have been the one to kill his siblings, and apparently also the king, which is kind of, But there is a bit of a complication this time around. Hey sis, long time no see. Oh, what's that? You're sleeping with the prince. Yeah, definitely a complication. So, feeling a bit trapped by my new familial bonds, I guess I'm back in the prince this time around. This involves, shocker, running some errands, running some more errands, and then dealing with an old familiar face. If you remember way back, 12 minutes ago now, when we were at the start of the game, we were a part of something called the Carda, under Balin, who we killed. His girlfriend did not take too kindly to that, despite, getting the chance to take over the Carda and make some big strides in it, So when the prince is like, hey, can you take care of the Carda? It is with great joy I finally get to tie up this loose end. However, minor downside, apparently my old friend Lesky has just kinda joined up with her, and thus we will need to be taken care of as well. But with that done, we can return to the prince, who apparently still has another favor to ask. The short of it is, he wants us to go find this Paragon Bronca, who is apparently super important, as having her backing for the throne would essentially guarantee that whoever she backs will become the next king. However, she left 2 years ago on this expedition into the Deep Roads, which, while once being an ancient and expansive series of tunnels that used to connect the flourishing Dwarven Empire, is nowadays a bunch of tunnels swarmed with Darkspawn, which is not real good for the survivability thing. But he wants us to go find her, and as we're leaving, a dwarf named Ohgren stops us and requests to join us. Turns out he wants to find Bronca too, but that's more because he's actually her husband than for any political reasons. And it turns out Ohgren joining us kind of confirms the whole I would think I was doing this outside of the recommended order thing, because he comes to us at level 13, a whole level above the Warden and 2 levels above everyone else. You see, I have been having a very bad time in Orzammar. Most fights end with anywhere between 1 to 4 deaths in my party, and I don't have access to a healer with the revive spell, nor even a particularly effective healer, because I have assigned Morrigan to that position and she just keeps casting Rejuvenate instead of Heal. On top of that, I am majorly hurting for supplies, as I can't buy healing potions or injury kits, and I'm having frequently multiple members of the party injured because they keep dying, meaning their combat effectiveness is lower, leading to more deaths, thusly more injuries. I can't even craft any healing supplies like I had kind of been hoping, as you apparently need flasks to craft potions, which can only be obtained from merchants. So, I made an executive decision. Sorry, Ohgren, but if she's lasted 2 years, she can last another day or 2. The last one of the treaties I have to issue is with the Dalish Isles, and I need to upgrade my equipment. So it's off to Denerim, where I'm hoping to pick up a revolution. Upon entering Denerim, I am reminded of an earlier conversation I had with Alistair, who mentioned he had a half-sister living in Denerim. Knowing the outcome of this quest, I am hesitant to do it, but this is important for me, so I must. Suffice it to say, it does not go well for poor Alistair. But I pick him up, pat him on his back, put him on his feet, and we can move on. Now, the place we're interested in is next door, actually. Wade's Emporium. I picked up some Drake scales along the way, and I'm looking for Drake scale armor. Seems I don't have enough just yet, but that will be changing soon. Additionally, this is the next stop in the search for the Urn of Andraste's Ashes, which will help heal Arl Eamon. However, the researcher we were sent to find has gone missing, and his assistant was replaced by a fake, who was swiftly dealt with. Luckily, this is just what I needed to find, and after cleaning up the city for some more supplies, I'm ready to head to the next stop in the quest for the Urn. Along the way, I also hit a few stops to clear some other quests I had picked up, hoping to find some more supplies as well. And after some time, welcome to Haven, the location Brother Genetivi indicated he was heading next in the search for the Urn of Sacred Ashes. This sleepy little mountain town is hiding a rather large secret, and I'm not just talking about the Urn. You see, in this world's religion, only women are priests. Yet this guard mentions a revered father. Strange. The shopkeeper attacks me completely unpromptedly when I just try to, walk into the private part of his house. And then there are numerous cultists waiting to kill me when I exit the shop. And won't you believe it, this isn't even the strange part. Their revered father doesn't seem to like me too much. Brother Genetivi is still alive though, but he's not doing super duper great. He's gonna help us break into the temple that holds the urn though, so that's cool. To be real with you, this dungeon is not my favorite. So instead of attempting to narrate the monotony of navigating it, I want to talk about an important part of this game. You see, one of the things that has always set apart Dragon Age from other RPGs for me is the companions. I hinted at this earlier. My party makeup is less meta, and more the people I want to spend time with, and hear the opinions of when dealing with the situations of the story. Add to that the random interactions, which I have highlighted through the video, and you've got an experience that a lot of other games just don't offer. It's sad that we're still waiting on Dreadwolf to come out, and have heard nothing for so long, but I guess I'll just have to keep playing the first 3 games over and over again, because there is no 4th game yet. But yeah, let's talk about the companions. Because by this point, I've picked up all of the companions I plan on getting, missing out only on 2 of them. Let's start out with those 2 I'm going to miss out on. First up is Shale. Nothing against Shale, they just don't feel the same as the base game companions. Part of this can be chalked up, I think, to them being a DLC companion. I think the only one. I just don't think they mesh as well, so I'm not going to go out of my way to get them, especially as they're DLC content for this run. Second is a bit of a spoiler. Later in the game, there comes a confrontation with Terran Loghain, in which you have the ability to force Loghain to become a Grey Warden. I have issues with this idea, to say the least. And while I have done it in the past, the way I've been playing this run means Loghain is not surviving the coming confrontation. I've always found it strange to make him one of your companions, even if I have felt that the punishment of forcing him through the joining was a fitting punishment for his crimes. I'm very conflicted on his pace in the party, and just don't find his interactions as compelling, and I really don't like the fact that it forces Alistair out of the party if you take him. Next up, let's discuss Sten. I have never found Sten that interesting. The whole concept of the Khun as a social and religious system does not really appeal to me, and as such, most of the characters who are practitioners of the Khun are rarely compelling. Like, it's hard to put in the effort required to essentially work past their entire worldview to get to the character underneath. And Sten is very emblematic of that to me. Compared to, let's say, Iron Bull in Inquisition, who I find has a much more compelling interaction with the Khun in his character development, Sten just kind of exists for me. I rarely take him into the field, and I rarely take the time to interact with him in camp. Following that, Wynne. I'm a big fan of being self-deprecating at times, but she takes this to the level where I would recommend therapy. Like, I understand, based around her character quest, but she's also annoying to be around. That, and she doesn't like Morrigan, which is kind of a mortal crime for any character that wants to endear themselves to me. Zeveran. He's okay, all things considered. I just find him a little flaky. And that's not just because I managed to fail his character quest the first time I played and he turned on me. No, there are other reasons. I'm just not going to mention them. He's all well and good. I just prefer Leliana when choosing a rogue. Ohgren. I think I have a more favorable view of Ohgren than most people do. Like, when your wife disappears and takes the entirety of the family except for you, and then nobody will help you go find her because they just kind of assume her genius means she's either fine or the Darkspawn means she's dead, yeah, that would kind of send me to drink a little bit too. Yeah, he's a little crass, and he can be kind of gross, or a lot gross, but he has lost literally everything that meant something to him, and I'm sympathetic towards that. He might appear in the party once in a while after Orzammar if I'm usually playing a mage and feel the need for some more frontline power, but he's not really a staple, you know? Next up, Dog. Or in this case, Dog Dark Souls. Real simple here. He is good boy. Puppy. And that's all I gotta say about that. Next up, we're gonna have to put Alistair. Alistair is a bro. An excellent frontline choice, and absolutely fucking hilarious to have around for both character interactions and his takes on happenings in the story. I think his character writing is some of the best in the game, and his personal story has so many potential endings and choices that it alone helps drive the replayability of this game to a certain extent, at least for me. I think his interactions with other companions are some of the funniest in the game, and his personal quest and writing feel beautifully fleshed out. I think he's a great companion and a wonderfully written character. Likewise, Leliana is one of my favorites. I find her companion quest really compelling and tragic, and I just kind of enjoy her general outlook. I love her interactions with Morrigan specifically, because they're always really fucking funny. She's my secondary option for romancing when I play and feel like doing romance, and I still recall being really annoyed she wasn't romanceable in Inquisition. I just find her character really interesting. Last, and certainly not least, Morrigan. She's a bitch, and I'm into that. I think her character is one of the most compelling of any game I've ever played, and I just love her interactions with other characters and companions. I admit her character quest is not the most compelling, writing-wise, but it is the one where you get to fight a dragon, so that kind of makes up for it, in my opinion. She's a fascinating character, and her contributions to the plot cannot go understated. Though I won't spoil it now, she does offer a choice near the end of the game, and on my first playthrough, my Warden took her up on that offer. I won't be this time, but as that was a playthrough where I romanced her, that was a really impactful moment, and I like to think about it from time to time. So yeah, those are my thoughts, neatly summarized by this little tier list. Let me know what you think of the companions in the comments below, if you agree with what I'm saying, or if you think I'm delusional. Just give me your take. But now, we find out the truth of this silly little cult. That's what we in this business call a dragon. And that cult is worshipping it. They seem to think it's Andraste reborn,
is so much more
wild.
The prophet Andraste.
But what can you do other than, well, kill it? Or be killed by it several times. Sick kill cam, though. Not only does the dragon have several wonderful upgrades for much of the party, it also gives me key crafting material for even better armor, which is nice. However, most importantly, it also opens up the last section of this dungeon, meaning we can continue on in our quest to find the Urn of Sacred Ashes. But first, the Gauntlet. It's a series of tests to prove our worthiness to see the urn, which starts with really fucked up ghosts. I can see your mouth models moving. Oh, then Leske is back to test me, but I know better. Then, a fight against ourselves, I assume. They're just kind of invisible. Then a puzzle, and now we need to get naked. That's certainly a trial, alright, but it was one of the last ones of the Gauntlet, so we can grab a pinch of ashes to go, and we're ready to revive one of our strongest allies. A sprinkle of dead woman ashes later, and blam, the Jarl is as good as new. Except he's still old. He gives us a shield as a reward, which is ironic because I've been using his for a good while now. And after he's caught up to speed, the Jarl agrees that Loghain needs to be dealt with. And he has a solution. Call a Landsmeet of all the nobles, tell them Loghain is a traitor, and put forward Alistair as king. All in all, the funniest possible solution I could have thought of, so I'm all for it. So, we'll make a quick stop at Denerim, and then we're going to head back to Orzammar. Caridin's Cross is a mess of Darkspawn and winding tunnels. Everything here no longer hurts quite so much as it did before, so my plan to detour was clearly the correct one. Things are still a little rough, just more fair. It's at this point I recall my distaste for the deep roads. This whole section is a slog, but eventually we make it to the Ortan Taig, the next area. And Ortan Taig has a separate issue. It's filled with spiders. I'm not what you would call a fan of spiders, particularly ones that appear to be 3 to 5 feet long. Oh, and that one is mauling me. That's going into the Nightmare Bank. Oh, and great, if Darkspawn and spiders weren't bad enough, there are now dwarf ghosts. At least they aren't as painful to look at. Oh great, it's like it can hear me. There's a few side quests to finish up that all end around here somewhere, but the most important part is finding signs that Branka came through here at some point. So, we keep on trucking. And eventually, we come across Branka's journal, telling us she has gone even further into the deep roads, into the so-called Dead Trenches, which just so happened to be swarming with Darkspawn, including the Archdemon causing this blight. Neat. One thing I have just noticed is that in all this time, with all the places we've been and the corpses I've looted, I have never found a staff upgrade for Morrigan. Is that strange? I don't recall that being an issue when I played as a mage. Oh, and now there are no just normal undead too? That's not fair. And now I'm hearing voices. This cannot get much worse, can it? Oh, no, it's just this crazy dwarf woman. Okay, that's better than me going crazy. However, even if she is crazy, she does shed some light on the situation. It seems the Darkspawn got to Branka's house, capturing them and infecting them and eating them and killing them. More things also that I don't want to risk the YouTube algorithm by explaining. One disturbing fight later, and we are another step closer to the Anvil of the Void and Branka. Branka greets us in this next area. Well, greets is a strong word, but essentially Branka allowed her house's extinction at the hands of the Darkspawn because she thought it would give her more test subjects to help her attempt to break through the traps that Caridin placed around the Anvil of the Void. But since we've cut off her test subjects by killing all of the Darkspawn, she forces us through the Gauntlet instead. So, because I skipped over it earlier, I think, the Anvil of the Void is this big anvil used to make stone golems. Along with the technique on how to make those golems, it's been missing for quite some time. But, according to this journal I found in Caridin's Cross, the way to make the golems involved sacrificing a dwarf to turn into the golem. Hope that isn't relevant soon. After a very quick and easy jog through the Gauntlet, where I definitely did not die to this stupid face puzzle thing multiple times, we get to meet Caridin himself. Essentially, he just lore dumps in case I didn't find his journal, and tells us that he got turned into a golem for refusing to make more golems. He wants us to destroy the anvil, where Branka clearly does not. Decisions. Moral correctness or a super sick army? This is a harder decision than I'd like to admit. Nah, just kidding, that thing's going boom. I get to dunk on Morrigan, which is a win in itself, but it does mean I have to fight Branka. That's not Ohgren's favorite thing, which is fair. Branka dies, Caridin gives me a crown to give to the prince, and I make an anvil go kaboom. Solid day's work, if you ask me. Finally, we can return to Orzammar, crown a new king, and be on our merry way. After all, we are still in the middle of a blight. But we now have one more set of allies to call upon. Well, this is not exactly what I would call a warm welcome. Turns out the elves are having some problems, also known as werewolves. Their keeper, their leader guy, wants us to go kill the first werewolf and bring back its heart. I'm on to you, motherfucker. Okay, you're definitely supposed to come here earlier in the game. This feels really easy. Oh look, they talk. That's gonna complicate things. Okay, seems the forest itself is going to prevent us from going forward. Luckily, there's this old and crazy man who offers to help me get through the forest in return for killing a tree. But something tells me that would not be a smart idea. Luckily, he, as he is crazy, does not take too kindly to me poking around, and I am thus forced to kill him. Time to go return this acorn he was talking about.
Ah, a child of the deeper stone. I should have heard it in thy tone. The woods have never been thy home. 'Tis far beneath the earth you roam.
He was right, it does rhyme.
It rhymes? 'Tis a rhyming tree.
You get it, Morrigan. Luckily, he's so thankful for his acorn that he just kind of gives us a branch that will let us through that barrier we were worried about earlier. Werewolf seems surprised by this, and they still won't talk to me. That's annoying. I'll just keep going until they're willing to talk, I guess.
Is this an elven place? Did the elves live underground, just like the dwarves?
Motherfucker, what? Spiders. Again, of course. And now a dragon. What the fuck? The only way they could make this worse would be by putting in even more spiders. Damn it. The rest of the temple proceeds in a similar fashion, being mostly filled by undead up until the part that's filled by werewolves. Luckily, it's not too far into the werewolf section where the werewolves finally decide they're willing to talk to me. Thusly, they take me to their leader, the Lady of the Forest. She gives me the rundown on how this all came around. Apparently, a very long time ago, the keeper of the Dalish clan that we talked to caused this whole werewolf curse. When some local humans centuries ago did some terrible things to his children, he created the wolf that we're supposed to be hunting, Witherfang, to get revenge, which turned many of the humans into werewolves. Now the lady wants me to go get the keeper and bring him back so that he can end the curse. And would you believe it, he's literally outside the door. He does agree to talk to them, reluctantly, and then the Lady of the Forest drops the bombshell. The keeper used blood magic to make this curse, and that's why he has been alive for so long. Talks eventually break down, and we are forced to fight. Zathriel, the keeper, goes down. He agrees to end the curse, which costs him his life, and the life of the Lady of the Forest. But the werewolves, 201, return to their human forms, meaning the elves back in the Dalish camp should be cured as well. Their new keeper agrees to rally the Dalish to help us, as the treaties oblige them to, meaning we have but one group of allies left to wrangle. Before we can head to Denerim and finalize the preparations to take on the Darkspawn, there are a few loose ends I want to tie up, namely, Flemeth. You might recall earlier I had made mention of powerful armor that could be crafted using something I took from the High Dragon that was being worshipped as Andraste. I crafted that puppy, and it's time to put it to the test. Oh yeah, that went a lot better this time. This whole having essentially flameproof armor thing is pretty nice, even if I did get mauled a little bit. But that should mean we're ready to continue. I finish up a few final side quests, and return to Redcliffe Castle to speak to Archdemon one last time. It all starts out with some friendly threats from Loghain. Classic politics. From there, we repeat Orzammar, find nobles to draw to our side, expose things that would help us, and hope that it works really well. And the first step in that is apparently save the queen. Turns out she didn't trust dear old dad enough and wanted some answers. Loghain's associate apparently did not take that too well, and thus we need to prevent him from killing her and pinning the death on Archdemon. Needless to say, that would really hurt our case if they managed that. So, it is undercover secret agent time. Arl Howe, the guy who's got Queen and Aura locked up, has a fancy new estate in the middle of Denerim. The servant distracts the guards, and we sneak in our fancy new uniforms. Howe has just been a very bad fella. He's got a bunch of people who would be really inconvenient if they escaped just sitting in his dungeons, like this Grey Warden, or this noble's son, or this veteran he's tortured, or this man who's supposed to be the Jarl of Denerim, or this Templar who went missing. Oh, this isn't gonna go well for Loghain. That's not even to mention the whole queen held hostage thing. Oh, I got clapped. I really hope that was scripted. You know, Alistair, of all the companions I was hoping to end up naked in a room with, you were not really in the top of that list. Luckily, I've done this whole break out of prison thing before. They even made the same mistake as last time, where they just left all of my equipment in a conveniently placed chest right next to me. Well, my plan of sneaking out almost worked. Let's try that again. Wait, I could just pretend to be a guard, and no one will ask my name or question the fact that they've hired a dwarf? Awesome. Easiest prison break of my life. What's up, motherfuckers? Lore dump summary. Logan has gone a little crazy, and Honora here is ready to just hand us ammunition against him. But there's a catch. She wants to be queen, by herself, which kind of messes with my plan to install Alistair as a puppet king. What if I propose he marries her? Oh, he doesn't like that idea. That would definitely ruin the whole puppet plan. Decisions. We'll circle back on that later. Let's go see what the queen wants. Okay, basically her offer goes like this. Leave her alone, the kingdom, and she'll hand us whatever I want. She did turn me down rather harshly when I kind of offered the whole marriage thing, but she wants a decision. At the end of the day, I kind of need Alistair, so guess she's gonna be queen. Our first, and I guess only lead, is the alienage, where the city elves happen to live. They are suffering from some sort of plague, according to these mages who just so happen to be able to cure said plague. Strange, that. One of the elves agrees with me, and that's really all the motivation I need to break in. Huh, no patients in this clinic, that's strange. Maybe this paperwork detailing how the elves are being sold into slavery will shed some light on the subject. My lord, it details that they're looking for elves to be sold into slavery. Who could have seen that coming? I really need to stop telling people that I'm here to relieve them. It doesn't go well. The slavers claim to have dispensation to do their work here. It's unfortunate that I have dispensation to kill them, but if the officials let them work here... Hoo boy, this should be a good one to turn on Logain. The Tevinter mage even tries to bargain with me. How unfortunate is it for him that I can assume if he's offering me this letter, that means he's got it on him. Sucks to suck, dumbass. This is going to be quite the issue for Logain to deal with. With that proof, it's time for the Landsmeet proper. Let's get this show on the road, shall we? I am almost surprised we didn't get attacked until we showed up. I kind of expected it to happen on the way here. But it's time to put this surly bastard in his place. He first accuses me of selling out to Orlais, so I bring up the fact that the Blight exists and is an issue, and I'm a Grey Warden. He's still on the selling out to Orlais thing. So I kind of mentioned the fact that he sold Ferelden citizens into slavery, and he's all like, I did it for the best of the country. So I bring up the whole, using a blood mage to poison his political enemies. Then, he tries to accuse me of kidnapping the queen, which is probably the actual truth. But Honora and I stick to our story, which knocks him down a peg. He gives this big, nice speech, which does not really do a lot for him, to be quite frank. But even after he gets majorly outvoted, he still won't go calmly, so it's honor duel time. I've been waiting for this. Mano-y-mano, motherfucker, let's do this. It comes down to the very wire, but Logain is getting wrecked, motherfucker. When he surrenders, I'm okay with sparing him as is. Alistair, of course, is not. So Riordan, the Grey Warden we saved earlier, goes, oh, there's another option. Let's just make him a Warden. I still get torn by this choice, because the man is a war hero, and he would be a very valuable ally to have. But I made a decision quite long ago, didn't I? Alistair, this one goes out to you. That's probably gonna piss off the future queen. Shit, I still have to make her queen. I really hope she doesn't take revenge for that. Well, she did appoint me to lead the armies against the Blight, which is a good sign, I guess? Let's head to Redcliffe, my friends. It's Blight time. Redcliffe itself, not doing too hot. Again. So it seems we've got our hands full from the get-go. Luckily, the party composition I've been building seems incredibly effective, which is good, as I managed to use up all of our healing supplies when I fought Logain. First, we deal with the Darkspawn in Redcliffe proper, then we move on to the castle. The Darkspawn fall quickly, and Alistair even manages a fairly sick kill cam. The Blight seems to be heading to Denerim, rather than Redcliffe, like we were assuming, so it is time for us to march fast. And even worse, the Archdemon has shown up, and is personally leading the horde of Darkspawn to Denerim. Guess it's time for us Grey Wardens to start picking up some slack. We march at daybreak, leaving us one final night to prepare. I make the rounds, meeting each of my companions one last time. Dark Souls, Sten, Wynne, Leliana, Ohgren, Zeveran, even Bodon and Sandal. Then, it is time to meet with Riordan and Alistair. Riordan finally breaks the bad news. To kill the Archdemon, one of us must die. As Grey Wardens, we happen to trap the soul of an Archdemon as it attempts to flee death, which destroys us in the process. Riordan plans to land the final blow, due to how long he has been a Warden, meaning that he has little time left. Should he fail, I intend to land the blow myself. There is a small problem with that, however. Morrigan wants to circumvent this through a powerful ritual, and also sleeping with her. She proposes that she and I do the horizontal tango, making a child who will already be infected with the taint. The Archdemon's soul would then pass into them instead of one of the Grey Wardens. And Morrigan claims that it'll be at an early enough stage in the early development cycle to survive this without ill effects. I refuse. She offers to sleep with Alistair instead. I think she misunderstood my statement, so I clarify. The Grey Wardens will fulfill their duties. She does not take this well, and leaves. The rest of the night passes quietly. The forces we have gathered make haste to Denerim, and it will all come down to this. My forces rip through the Darkspawn without restraint, clearing the army outside the city walls with ease before doing the same to those just within the gates. But my team will need to split up. Some must stay behind to watch the gates. I appoint Ohgren to lead my remaining allies, while I bring Alistair, Leliana, and Wynne with me to defeat the Archdemon. The first step will be taking down some of the generals of this horde, which will clear up my forces to deal with the horde's smaller threats alone. I call upon the Dwarves of Orzammar to help me clear out the market district, and the mages to help with the alienage, and then the Dalish once the mages get murdered really fast. Then, it's time to face the Archdemon itself. A quick flashback to our other allies. I managed to get Ohgren stuck in the level geometry, but the rest managed to defend the gates admirably. But that means there will be no distractions. Unfortunately, I witnessed Riordan fall from the back of the Archdemon, which I can assume did not end well for him, meaning that one of us will be ending this blight. We make the final push to Fort Dragon, and I call upon the dwarves to assist me again, reasoning that I'd rather the Legion of the Dead to help me fight Darkspawn than anyone else, and begin to climb the tower. The party doesn't feel right without Morrigan. Sandal is here. I take a moment to gaze longingly at the many healing items he has on sale, and then push forwards. More Darkspawn infest the second floor, but I focus on scrounging up as many healing items as I can to replenish the stock I wasted on Loghain. However, it is when I come to a large room that holds many healing items that I know the end of the game is near. It is on the other side of this door that the Archdemon and the fate of Ferelden wait. Time to teach this dragon a lesson. It takes a few attempts, but we eventually push the Archdemon to its last legs. Alistair knocks it down, and attempts to convince me to let him do the deed, oddly calling himself king, which is strange because I definitely said Honora was the queen, but I made a promise. The dragon dies by my hand. And the blight is ended. With it, though, comes the end of John DragonAgeOrigins. My allies, though, have all survived, which was the part I worried for the most. And thus, John DragonAgeOrigins, hero of Ferelden, is laid to rest, and this challenge run comes to an end. Can you beat Dragon Age Origins without spending money? Yeah, it's just gonna suck once in a while, particularly when you run low on supplies, but it is possible. So, what'd you think? Were there places you would have done it differently? Or perhaps places I missed something obvious? Regardless, I hope to see you again when I attempt to beat Dragon Age 2 without spending money. Until then, have a good one.